What is cracking YouTube? It is your boy Anthony Spritz. Another beautiful day, another video, and you already know. Today I want to talk about a few things, honestly. Xbox, but also it's going to lead into PlayStation and just the overall state of the industry as far as gaming, consoles. You already know. So lock in. I ain't even going to waste no time. We're just going to jump right into it. So we're going to start off with Xbox, and we're going to start off with the fact that Xbox has been taking W's. Now, they are small wins in the grand scheme of things, because if we're looking at it, Xbox, their sales and everything, they release the metrics and their stuff is down. Okay, it's down all around the board. And I think it's important to highlight the wins, right? Certain things that have been done right as of this recording in recent times. And one of those being the price drop for Game Pass. I think they're working on the Game Pass subscription so they're cheaper and more affordable, right? And also, the fact that exclusivity is in talks, right? It's back on the table. It hasn't been confirmed, obviously, but the fact that it's in talks and they're trying to change things back, even going as far as to change the name back to Xbox, right? Instead of Microsoft Gaming or whatever it was, they changed it back to Xbox. Shout out to the new president that seems to be doing her damnedest to make Xbox not completely implode on itself. Asha Sharma, I think I'm gonna put her name up on the screen and picture and all that, so you know what I'm talking about. But shout out to Asha, because she's actually seems to be at this point trying to do things to save this generation of Xbox gaming from completely just titanicking and setting up for the next generation. And I feel like all this is important to say because we need Xbox, right? And this isn't an Xbox glazing video at all. Xbox and the things that they do will be affecting the industry, and even Sony, surprisingly. Small wins, they're definitely the underdog, and they're fighting a huge uphill battle, but I'm here for it. And seeing as where we are with gaming and the price hikes with the games themselves, the hardware is crazy. They need to fix that immediately, right? And obviously the RAM. But focusing on the hardware a little bit, especially on Xbox's side, they're not really doing the greatest in the gaming department as far as like Xbox first party stuff. And prior to the little W's I was talking about, they had their stuff. They were basically becoming a third party platform, which means Xbox was shipping all their games everywhere else. And it seems like that's not even enough anymore. So when we look at like them underperforming, and then we look at the price hikes of like the Xbox consoles, for instance, Series X is like some crazy amount of money. It's like $800-900, nowhere near worth that. I mean, geez. To be fair, other platforms, Sony, Nintendo, they've definitely hiked up their prices and stuff as well. And that's what I'm saying, right? This is ridiculous, and especially with inflation and everything the world's going through, is just looking kind of crazy economically. For me, I'm saying Xbox, you got a lot of work to do. Really, in my personal opinion, we got to start with further cutting them prices, man, especially with the content, their consoles, things like that. But yeah, I've said it before. I've made videos. You can go on the channel, check that out. I've made videos talking about exclusivity, talking about Xbox moving away from exclusivity, and talking about bringing value to their platform. I called it, and it just makes sense, right? I'm not going to take too much credit because it just makes sense. How are you supposed to sell your hardware when, you're releasing your games on everything and you can just go somewhere else, get somebody else's platform, grab the Xbox games when they come out, and reap all the benefits? When we look at Xbox, especially this generation, I mean, it just seems like they weren't focused on everything but the Xbox brand, right? Their platform, right? They were focused on everything but that. I'm glad that they're walking some of this stuff back because it just makes sense, especially with them wanting to release the Xbox Helix, its code name, in the future, and just competing in the industry, more importantly, right? And we've seen Sony kind of pull out because they were working on this kind of experiment where they were putting games on other platforms, including PC, right, which ties into Microsoft, obviously, and they've pulled back. And they've begun to focus more on exclusivity. We're going to get into Sony in a second because Sony has been doing some things that I definitely don't agree with. And this is part of the reason I'm making this video as well, because believe it or not, Xbox does have an effect on that. It just feels like the gaming industry as a whole has just become way more Mr. Krabsy, money hungry. You already know. For me, it's nice to see Xbox taking the steps in the right direction. I hope they continue to take steps in the right direction and maybe, like I say, cut those prices and make those tough calls to keep some stuff exclusive and just make their brand worth it, because that's gonna affect everybody else, right? It's gonna affect the other big players in the gaming space, and we need that. This is obviously a huge W for us, the consumer, because man, we need to have the gaming community come together and just like really let our voices be heard, because man, the prices and the things that they're trying to charge for, it is literally highway robbery. And y'all gonna see what I'm saying throughout the duration of this video, because I'm gonna be cooking them. I got some stuff to say. Overall, the state of Xbox as a brand and as a competitor has an effect on the whole industry, like I said before. And this is where we get into the whole Sony thing, right? Because since Sony essentially has crushed their competition, or the main competition, which was primarily Xbox, Sony has decided to become a little bit more lazy and start to implement a lot of practices that I really don't agree with, including some things like setting separate prices depending on, I don't know if it was on region or I think it was based on the profile, something like that. But I remember that they did this thing where they did something experimental where they were setting certain prices based on how many games somebody buys if they don't buy many games, and different people were essentially getting different prices, and it was just very scummy, right? That's one thing. Then as of lately, they had this DRM thing go on. When you buy games digitally, you get a license, and essentially what was happening was the license was temporary, and basically it makes it so where even if you bought a single player game, every 30 days or so, they would have to check in and you'd have to be online. And if you weren't online to do the little check-in or whatever, you would lose access to the game that you bought. Mind you, they were trying to implement this refund policy, and yes, it is possible to get a refund on PlayStation, although you have to jump through like 100,000 hoops. And I still think you have to jump through 100,000 hoops, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really think they made too many significant changes to the refund policy, which would have been a better move. However, I digress, right? The main point is they did this weird thing where you pay your good money for a digital product and you're not getting it, right? And that's why I say physical media is definitely important. Getting, discs or cartridges, whatever, so you just, you have your product, you own your product, because these people are trying to take your purchase away from you, basically take your power to own something away from you. Now, I don't know by the time of this recording if they walked anything back or if they did any type of revisions to the DRM policy that they were doing, but the fact that it's a thing that they thought was a good idea is absurd. Not only that, this whole digital game thing where they, the DRM thing where they do the 30-day check-in where you need an internet connection or you don't own any of your games, they just kind of shadow dropped it, meaning they didn't really announce anything. They just kind of slipped it in there and hope we didn't notice. Obviously that didn't work, but just the audacity that they would do things like this when we're already having such a crazy time with the economy, the prices, things like that. So that's why I say it's important for them, people like them, to have competition, because it just makes sense, right? If Xbox or anybody, Nintendo's doing their own thing, but Xbox or any competitor is not doing the scummy practices, people are going to go over there. Obviously, it's just logical. So they'd have to compete and not be so greedy, so soul crushingly greedy. Listen, between the prices of hardware, it's pretty crazy. So any type of win we can get as consumers, we need it. right? And I also say we as the purchaser, we got to vote with our wallets and let our voices be heard. You know what I mean? We got to look for those sales. We got to buy physical media and support the people who deserve it. But I digress. I think that we just need to be moving in the right direction. And I feel like hopefully Xbox can get back on track. It's a long uphill battle because they lost a lot of their players' goodwill, man. The Xbox community has been going through it. We need everything to even out because, especially for Sony, no competition. It's just making them more and more the evil character in the story. So I'm very interested into seeing how this plays out, man. But yeah, that's really all I got for this video. You know, I just wanted to touch on the industry and really try to be hopeful and see the silver lining in Xbox, you know, coming back, helping out, because we need that right now with everything going on. Obviously, I'm just a fan of gaming in general as well. I know Xbox is slated to still have some good titles come out, and I hope they come out and do good. But yeah, man, this stuff is getting insane, dude. Prices, and they just keep going up and up and up. But you know, I just wanted to come on here, talk y'all ear off, tell y'all how I feel about the situation. And obviously this is a developing situation, so we gonna see what happens. I'll probably have some more videos to make in the future, because every single day I wake up, you already know the gaming space be shifting and going high and low, really just low as of this point. But you know what I mean, we still get a little bit of highs here and there. That's what I have for y'all today. I thought it was a little interesting topic to kind of touch on, look at the future of everything as far as this generation and next generation, which should be interesting, especially with AI and RAM shortages and all the other apocalyptic stuff we're dealing with. But if you run across this video and you enjoyed my ranting and me talking your ear off, you know what to do. Show some love. I'll be back as per usual. And most importantly, thank y'all. Just like that, man, you already know. I'm gone. Peace.